Hello, welcome back to my videos. If you haven't seen my other ones, go check them out. It has been a minute since I posted. My apologies. I'm trying to get better at this. I'm also trying to figure out my mic settings because it's been frustrating me. It's been part of the reason why I haven't even made a video. But yeah, today I'm going to be reading 4 different Reddit stories. They're all pretty long, so buckle up. Am I the asshole for telling my dad I know about his second family after he asked me to keep a secret from my mom for 3 years? I, 23F, found out in June 2023 that my dad, 54M, had a child with another woman. I found out by accident. I borrowed his phone to call someone, and a message notification came up from a woman named Karen with a photo of a little girl who looked exactly like my dad. I confronted him alone that same night, and he broke down and admitted everything. The girl is now 4 years old. He begged me not to tell my mom, 51F, and said he was handling it, that it was complicated, that Karen had agreed to keep things quiet, that telling mom would destroy our family. I was 20 years old, sitting across from my father, watching him cry, and I said okay. I kept that secret for 3 years. Every family dinner, every holiday, every time my mom talked about how much she trusted my dad, I sat there and said nothing. It affected me more than I told anyone. I started therapy in early 2024 specifically because of the anxiety this secret was giving me. My therapist never told me what to do, but kept asking me how long I was willing to carry something that was not mine to carry. Last month, in June 2026, my dad sat me down and told me Karen was threatening to tell my mom herself unless he started paying more. He wanted me to help him figure out how to keep it quiet. That was the moment something snapped. I told him I was done. I could not keep doing this. 2 days later, I sat down with my mom and told her everything. She was devastated. She is currently staying with her sister and has spoken to a divorce lawyer. My dad is furious and says I betrayed him and destroyed our family. My younger brother, 19M, says I should have stayed out of it. My therapist says I made the right call for my own mental health without telling me it was right or wrong. I genuinely do not know if I did the right thing or just the thing I could no longer avoid doing. Am I the asshole? 9 days later, OP made an update. It's only been 9 days since I made my original post, but things have moved much faster than I expected. My mom is still staying with my aunt and has already met with a divorce lawyer to understand her options. Although nothing has been officially filed yet, she told me that while the affair itself broke her heart, what hurt even more was realizing my dad had been lying to her for years and had asked me to carry the secret alone. She kept apologizing for not noticing how much it had affected me, and I kept reminding her none of this was her fault. My dad is still blaming me and insists I destroyed our family instead of giving him more time to fix things. But I honestly don't know how anyone fixes secretly having another child. We haven't really spoken since. My younger brother has calmed down a little, even though he's still upset about everything, and I think he's starting to understand why I couldn't keep the secret anymore. I still haven't met Karen or my half-sister, and I don't know what will happen there. I've continued going to therapy, and while everything hurts, I also feel a strange sense of relief because I'm no longer carrying a secret that was never mine to keep. Reading the comments on my original post helped me realize that I didn't create the situation, just stopped protecting it. Some relevant comments include Commenter 1, "The destroyer is your father. This is all on his head. NTA." Opie responds, "Thank you. I'm slowly accepting that, even if it's hard to believe after being blamed for so long." Another commenter says, "Definitely not the asshole. Your brother is understandably upset and he's lashing out, but at the wrong person. But like you, his world has just fallen around him and he sounds a young 19-year-old. Your dad, on the other hand, is a fucking child and needs to face up to what he has done and be a man about it rather than pushing it onto you. You absolutely did everything right. Not just for yourself, but the family." Opie responds, "Thank you. I don't blame my brother for struggling with this. I just wish my dad had taken responsibility instead of expecting me to carry the consequences of his choices." The most recent update for this one was on August 5th, 2026, so we don't have anything else currently. I do wish OP well. It does sound like this is a really difficult thing to be dealing with. I don't even know what I would do if I was in this situation. My 28M fiancé, 30F, confessed to hooking up with another guy shortly before our wedding. I'm struggling. How can I move past this? I'm 28M, feeling super lost about my relationship with my fiancé, 29F. I'd appreciate a fresh perspective. We've been together for about 3 years now, but have been friends for 5 years. We met in the same workplace friend group. She's my best friend, and my partner in every way. Our relationship hasn't been without challenges, but we've been a solid team. Last December, my fiancé asked if we could take a break so she could recalibrate. She said she was struggling with finding her purpose outside of our relationship. I've never believed in the concept of breaks, but I wanted to support her, so I agreed and we set boundaries. Essentially, we wouldn't see other people. The break wasn't long. By Christmas, it was already over. She said it was a mistake and she wanted us. And things were good. Our communication was stronger and like no time apart had ever occurred. We were engaged by New Year's. My fiancée didn't want to wait anymore. She wanted us to start our lives together in marriage. This past week, she's been anxious and blamed it on wedding jitters. Then the other day, she sat me down and confessed to hooking up with some guy during the break. She met him on a dating app, and they had sex a couple of times. She claims the guilt's been eating at her, and she opened up to her sister, 31F, a month ago. Apparently, her sister pushed her to come clean before the wedding. When my fiancé stalled, her sister warned she'd tell me herself if my fiancé didn't. It was a lot to accept at once. I barely said a word. I was too numb, and I'm still wrapping my mind around everything. Like my fiancé has had a complicated connection with sex due to past experiences. When we got together, she wanted us to practice celibacy, and that evolved into celibacy until marriage. She believed us waiting would cement our bond and elevate our relationship. We focused on other forms of intimacy. The no sex stuff was never a deal breaker for me. Sex wasn't the basis of my love for her, nor was it why I wanted to be with her, and she was well worth the wait in any capacity for me. But I'm struggling now because I don't understand how she can turn around and give herself to some random guy in a way she's never given herself to me. How celibacy was so important to her, but she gave that away for him. She swears the other guy meant nothing, and it was the biggest mistake of her life. That she ended the fling because I'm the one she's in love with and who she wants to be with. But I don't know. Nothing she had said really landed for me, to be honest. I asked if she would have told me if it wasn't for her sister. She said she doesn't know. She promised to do anything to rebuild trust and repair our relationship no matter how long it takes. She still wants us to proceed with the wedding. She said she believes in our love and how we can withstand anything. How this doesn't have to define us. When I didn't engage, she just cried and kept asking me to say something. I told her I needed to clear my head. I don't like speaking when my emotions are all over the place. I tend to regret it, so I prefer to gather myself. But my fiancé hasn't respected my request, and when I don't engage, she's hurt. And now she's also super affectionate. She's always been affectionate, but she's different with it now, if that makes sense. This doesn't feel like real life. I never expected this betrayal from her. We're supposed to be wedding planning and everything that comes with it. Our wedding is around the corner. We're having a modest gathering, so the planning wasn't that long. I feel so numb to everything. I'm in love with her, and she's the woman I wanted to share a life with, but for the first time I'm questioning everything. I don't even trust myself anymore, to be honest. I feel so stupid and like such a joke. I'm just lost. How do I move past this and navigate our relationship? TLDR, my fiance's and my relationship went to hell shortly before our wedding after she confessed to sleeping with another guy a couple of times while we were on a break. She confided in her sister, who pushed her to tell me. We fought, and I told her I needed space. By my fiance's request, we were practicing celibacy until marriage. Celibacy was important to her, but she gave herself to a random guy in a way she's never given herself to me. Ever since, she's been asking for me to not give up on us and has been super affectionate. Our wedding's around the corner, and now everything's gone wrong. I'm lost and questioning our entire relationship. I don't even trust myself anymore. I feel so stupid and like such a joke. I'm just lost. How do I move past this and navigate our relationship? Some relevant comments include Commenter 1. If you guys agreed on not seeing other people during the break, then why was she on dating sites? Is she bipolar? Sounds like maybe a manic episode. She made a careless decision with a stranger. I think you should move on. Unfortunately, whatever it was that caused her infidelity may creep back up if she doesn't figure it out. OP responds. The only reason she gave me about the dating app was it was a mistake. She won't elaborate further on it. Another commenter said, she's not your friend, much less your best friend, and she's not wife material. She broke the boundaries y'all set right away and would never have told you if she wasn't forced into it. I wouldn't be surprised if she planned that break just to do what she did. Her excuses are complete BS. She made you wait for sex but gave it up to him right away twice. And cheaters always say it meant nothing. Mark my words, OP, if you marry this woman, hell, if you stay with this woman, you will regret it. Be smart, end this relationship, walk away, and never look back. Your fiancé is a POS. OP made an update a week later. Thank you to everyone who reached out. I, 28M, wasn't able to reply much, but I appreciated everything. I had no one to talk about this whole situation, not even our friend group, because I've been embarrassed. A lot's happened since my original post, so I wanted to provide an update. After taking some time to myself, the numbness is wearing off. Every emotion has been hitting me at once. Emptiness, sadness, anger. It's a rotation, and at first I was mad at myself, but now I realize I'm mad at my fiancé. I look at her now, and I don't recognize the woman I fell in love with. The woman who was my closest friend for half a decade. She's a stranger. The woman I knew I wouldn't do half the stuff she did. She used to be so disgusted with cheaters. She actually cut off an old friend over cheating. Some have asked what my fiance's complicated relationship with sex is. I won't get too much into it because it's personal details about her, but she's been badly shamed before, and she feels like sex has messed up good things in her life at different times. She has never respected my demand for time to sort my feelings. She kept pushing and trying to use affection. I did end up asking about her hooking up with that guy while we were celibate. She claims celibacy for us was different because she wanted a pure relationship with me and for us to be our strongest and most connected before sex. The other hookup was more inconsequential. I didn't ask her much about further details on the guy because, to be honest, it doesn't change anything for me. I don't have it in me to be a detective and compare stories right now. The facts are, the woman I dedicated my life to cheated and nuked our relationship. I did ask her why, though. She claims that she was self-sabotaging. She felt insecure about our relationship and how she'd be as my wife, and she sought comfort through sex, but it only made her feel worse, and she realized she wanted me. I'm still processing her reasoning, to be honest. I don't know what else I could have done. I always reassured her and told her she's the one I wanted to be with. I'd list everything I loved about her. I never had doubt about her or our relationship. There's still a lot that I'm figuring out, but I know I can't go through with the wedding. The other day I sat her down and called it off. I guess she thought I was preparing to reconcile, so she didn't take it well. She was really broken up. I've never seen her break down nor cry like that, and despite everything, it hurt to leave her while she was in that state. She was just in bad shape and saying she didn't want to lose me, and that was the biggest mistake of her life. She'll never do it again. She asked for us to try therapy. She kept asking for me to not give up on us. I'm not in a place to engage in any reconciliation with her, nor do I have any trust in her. She brought up how I promised I'd always be there for her, but now I'm abandoning her like everyone else has, and how we promised each other unconditional love. I don't think her accusations are fair, and it did sting, to be honest. I meant my promises and everything I ever told her, but I didn't just up and leave her. She cheated. She made a decision for the break. She made a decision to download the app, entertain the guy, and have sex with him. We're here because of her choices. The unconditional love was a promise we made at the very start of our relationship. We've both dealt with not being accepted for ourselves or having only conditional love. I wanted to reassure her she never had to be anything except herself for me. That was the basis of the promise. That I accepted her wholly. It wasn't a card to pull for cheating. Another thing that makes this all complicated is that we live together. I planned to stay with my family for the time being, but she was refusing to let me leave. Like she threw herself in front of the door and refused to move, and then grabbed me when I tried moving around her. I had to call her sister to come get her and talk her down. I've been processing these past few days. This doesn't feel like real life. She always boasted about us, and our relationship meant the world to me. I was never more sure of anything in my life than her. My mindset was already married to her. She's been texting and sending voice notes asking for forgiveness and wanting to reconcile. I haven't replied. I'm not sure if I can move past this. I've told our family and friend group about the cancellation and breakup. Making the rounds was embarrassing, and everyone had tons of questions. Somehow, it hurts more upon each retelling. Our friend group's mostly been understanding, but a few are advocating for me to talk things out with her. I'm not in the headspace to engage them either. I feel like I lost the life we built and shared, how we went from engaged and the happiest we've ever been to this. How days ago we were just joking about her walking down the aisle and how clumsy she is, to now be broken up. I feel so lost, and I don't know where to go from here. I'm still coming to terms with everything. Thank you to everyone who has shown support and empathy. I really appreciate it. TLDR. My fiance and I's relationship went to hell shortly before our wedding after she confessed to sleeping with another guy a couple of times while we were on a break. She confided in her sister, who pushed her to tell me. We fought, and I told her I needed space. By my fiance's request, we were practicing celibacy until marriage. Celibacy was important to her, but she gave herself to a random guy in a way she's never given herself to me. Ever since, she's been asking for me to not give up on us and has been super affectionate. Our wedding's around the corner, and now everything's gone wrong. I'm lost and questioning our entire relationship. I don't even trust myself anymore. I feel so stupid and like such a joke. I'm just lost. How do I move past this and navigate our relationship? A relevant comment? If you stay with her, you relive this pain every day and in every moment. I've been there, and like you, was foolishly holding on due to sunk cost fallacy. It gets worse every day, minimizing yourself and the pain you feel. I stayed for a year after, and the relationship and the fights got worse and worse. I know you'll find happiness with someone else. Sending love. Me, 23F, with my boyfriend, 24M, of 2 years. Says I ruined his best friend's party. I have been dating David, 24M, for 2 years. He lives about 20 minutes away. He has told me he resents the fact that my parents paid for my schooling, which is partially true. They cut me a check after I graduated. I worked long hours and got scholarships/loans to help pay for it. I didn't even know they had a college fund for me. He also has said he hates how spoiled I can be. I moved into my grandparents' house 3 years ago. My mom hates the house, and since it is not the prettiest home, she let me live there. She then signed the house over to me when she moved across the country for work. I have a full-time job with good benefits and have worked my ass off to pay my bills, save money, and fix up the house. Most of my spare time is done making the house as nice as possible. I even installed a wood floor myself. David says I don't know how to work hard, but I have 40 to 50-hour weeks and have a high-energy job. I've told him the comments were not appreciated and he stopped, but he has made snarky comments a few times. I do love David, but sometimes he can get carried away trying to be the life of the party. David asked if he could have some friends over to my house. It was supposed to be a surprise gathering for his friend Mike. It was a cake, some pizza, a few beers, and presents, so pretty casual. I knew all the people he was inviting, and he told me he would clean up. Then he asked if I would go out for the night, so he could have the house to himself. I told him I was not comfortable with that, and I didn't want to leave my own home. I asked why I couldn't be there. He didn't have a real answer and said he just wanted to feel like he had his own place. It was a pretty sketchy reply, and I told him I wanted to socialize with Mike as well. I like beer, I like pizza, I love cake. David acted like he had a right to think about it. I told him I was either going to be included or he could find somewhere else to party. He told me I was being controlling. He said I should trust him. I said, my house, my rules, which might have been pretty bitchy to say, but I didn't see why I had to vacate my own home on a Friday and go somewhere when there would be people I liked and who liked me at my house. I knew Mike before I knew David, and we were still good friends. Plus, there were going to be other girls there, so it was not like he wanted a guy's night. Even then, I didn't think I needed to leave. He could do it at his own apartment. I then told him that I wanted everyone to leave by 10 p.m. The gathering started at 5 p.m., so I thought that was plenty of time. David got so upset he left the room, but eventually he told me that he would respect my rules, even though I was acting like his mom. He told me he resents that I have to remind him to be an adult. Friday comes and it's a fun time. We shoot the shit. There are 8 people total. Everyone, minus Mike and his wife, leave at 9:30 to 10. Everyone pitches in to clean up. Mike thanks me for the party and his wife is asking if I want to hang out another day. David's phone rings and he answers it. He starts talking like, sure man, and come on in. I hear what sounds like a horn honking and then a car pulling up. I have a gravel drive, so you can hear the rocks crunching, and the lights flash into the living room. I ask David if he is going somewhere, and he looks sort of guilty. He tells me he invited some guys over and that they were just going to chill for like an hour or two. I told him that I didn't want more people in the house and that he needed to ask me to invite people over. He snapped. I pretty much live here. I have a right to invite people over. Pretty much live here is 2 days a month where he could spend the night. The other times I visit him between work and classes, or we go on late dates. But I usually spend the night at his apartment. It is closer to work. Someone knocked, and I told David not to answer the door. I told David he needed to get his friends out of here and leave. I was done playing the host. David ended up calling me a selfish bitch and got his things, leaving. I got a call at 3 a.m. from David asking me to pick him up at his friend's because he was too drunk to drive home. I told him to sleep it off. So David came by Saturday around noon and proceeded to tell me I ruined his night and didn't know how he could forgive me for this. He said I was a terrible person for embarrassing everyone like that, and Mike had called to say he was upset. How could I do that to him? How could I be so selfish? Then he told me, we will live here one day, so you should get used to having my friends over. I told my friend and she said I probably ruined a good time and said I had overreacted, but I don't think I did. I didn't want them there. I had shit to do in the morning and I didn't want people crashing on my couch, using my house as their whiskey hotel. I am tempted to break up with him over this. Is it a stupid reason? Did I act like a bitch? I'm pretty bad at socializing and I'm pretty shy, so I could have been wrong, but I don't feel like I was. TLDR, my boyfriend says I ruined his friend's party. Was I wrong? 12 days later, OP gives an update. I called Mike and asked him if he spoke with David. He said he did, but that it was maybe for 5 minutes. They made plans to go golfing, but Mike turned him down because he felt uncomfortable with how David was acting. It was not even about the party. He told me the last time he went out with David, they went to a bar with some of David's work friends, which included a few of the younger girls at his work. I have no problem with this, and David did not cheat. The girls, however, were pretty wild and got smashed. David did not want to leave the bar, so he called some friends to pick them up. Then he took Mike over to his friend's house. These were some of the same guys he tried to get over at my house. Mike ended up leaving because they were making crude jokes about Mike's wife and were smoking pot. He said the way David treated him made him feel uncomfortable, and the party had been the last straw because David spent the time he wasn't with me complaining about how immature and stupid I was. Mike said we were cool and he would love to hang out with me another time, but he needed to stay away from David. It seemed pretty much to be, if David is still your boyfriend, peace out. I ended up inviting 2 friends over for lunch on Sunday last, and we talked about David for almost 3 hours. I told them everything about the party and the way he had been treating me. I repeated some of the things he said, and it all just kind of clicked. I didn't want to be with someone who was a total child. I felt oddly liberated thinking that, and my stress just slipped off. I knew in that moment that I wanted nothing to do with him again. I was done and it was time to end it. I guess, deep down, part of me has already been letting go after the party. David ended up texting me while my friends were over asking if he could borrow my gas card. I've never let him take cards from me to use, because I feel like that is asking for trouble, even with people I've known for a long time. I told him he should come by and we could talk about it. My friends insisted on staying to offer moral support, but would be in the next room. It was actually easier than I thought it would be. He came in, asked for the card, I told him that it was over, he was not getting the card, and I never wanted to see him again. I told him to keep the $200 he owed me, I didn't need it. He told me he wanted his movies back. I gave them to him and he left. 2 days later, he texted me and called me about 30 times asking for me back. He needed me, he loved me, he wanted to be with me. I find out that he was late on rent, spent most of his money partying, and that he had hoped to borrow it from me. I owed him. I blocked his number. He showed up at my house twice, but telling him through the door I would call the police made him leave. I have yet to see him again. I'm not sure what is going on in his life, but fuck him. So that is the update. I am now single, focusing on work. I have plans to take a trip. Someone is watching my house for me and knows not to let him in. My friend Amelia and I are going to the mountains. I got a facial and massage. The tension was pretty thick, and Marcus cut right through it with his magic hands. And I am now a redhead. I have also had the locks changed and arranged to see a therapist. I have taken extra shifts at work and gone out with friends. I have a gathering in a few days with some other friends, Mike included. It feels nice, but I am sure at some point when the victory is worn off, I will likely have a good cry about it. But yeah, that is pretty much it. TLDR, I am free. 2 months later, OP updates again. It has been a while, and I'm not sure if anyone remembers me, but I wanted to update. David, my ex, got arrested for drug possession and is facing a felony charge. He threw a brick through my window. I had a 2-week period where he was aggressively stalking me and would follow me to work. Either way, he has been in jail for a long time. I started dating someone else pretty quickly after, and things have been going well. My new partner is also like me and likes to go to bed early and wake up early. We spend a lot of time together on the weekends, and the time we are apart, he always sends me cute texts and makes sure to remember small things. I like him a lot better than David. I guess I just wanted to give an update. Thank you all so much for the support. TLDR, met someone new, David was arrested, life goes on. Am I the asshole for thinking my roommate with kids should pay more when I pay nothing? Me, 22, and my boyfriend, 25, have been together for almost 3 years now, and the majority of the time we've lived separately at our respective family homes. About a year ago, we decided my boyfriend would come live at my family home for a set period of time in order for him to save money for an apartment for the both of us. I am in college full-time and have no real need to move, and he is not in school but is working full-time and wants us to live together. At the end of the time he could continue living at my home, he had not made any preparations to find us a new place to live, nor had saved up enough money to support two people despite wanting the two of us to live together. Subsequently, a friend of mine, 23, was looking to move as she had no place for her and her two kids, 1 and 4, to live anymore, but could also not afford her own apartment. I suggested we look into moving in together as it would solve everyone's issue. We eventually landed on a 3-bedroom, 2-story townhome, agreeing that she and her two kids would get the top floor, and we would get the bottom bedroom with the attached bath, and we would share the rest of the downstairs, living room, and kitchen. At the beginning of the lease, we agreed my boyfriend and her would split the rent 50-50 and I would not pay as I took up no extra space and would be covered in what my boyfriend paid. Recently, my roommate has had her financial situation change and suggested we split all the bills 3 ways as we are 3 adults. I then suggested that because I have a small savings, I would be willing to split the bills 3 ways under the condition that we get the top floor and her kids get the first floor master bedroom setup. She said that would be unfair for her as she would have to room with her kids and wants them to have their own space. I told her that while I understand that feeling, it would be even more unfair to pay only 30% of the monthly expenses while having over 50% of the apartment to herself, notably because as of right now, she only pays 50% of the rent, even though she has the whole second floor and bathroom privately to her and her kids. My boyfriend and I have 1 bedroom that shares a wall with the common space downstairs to ourselves. Our attached bathroom gets used by others at all times, as it is the only one downstairs. She is now upset and thinks the arrangement is unfair and that we should split the bills 3 ways, and I am upset as I feel like she is pawning off her poor planning on others, especially as my boyfriend and I also watch her kids, since she does not have a stable babysitter as well as put up with the other kid behaviors she does not try to mitigate despite having roommates. My boyfriend does not think I am the asshole for not splitting bills, as the breakdown of me was decided/covered by him before we signed the lease, but does think I am the asshole for suggesting we switch floor plans and thinks I should have just declined her suggestion without explaining. One comment says, yes, the arrangement is unfair. She should pay more. She brings 3 people, you are only 2, having less private space, not even a private bathroom. The 50-50 split could be okay if you had a larger share of the common areas, or she makes it up in other ways. NTA, of course. Thank you for taking the time to listen to these stories I've read. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I would love to read any recommendations for future Reddit communities I could read stories from, because I really only have like the Am I the Asshole one, confessions, stuff like that. I'm pretty new to Reddit, so I don't really know where to go for like stories. I also do want, because October's coming up, I think I'm gonna do like a little Halloween themed ones. I think that would be so cool to read like scary stories. But yeah, comment below, like the video, subscribe. I appreciate all the support I've been getting. 20 subs is so crazy to me. I know that's not a lot. Anyway, but yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.